Om. Sahana bhavatu sahanau bhunaktu sah viryankaravavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. I think we were doing the verse 31 or 30 yesterday. Okay, let me just go to the verse and then start. I think we did this yesterday. You're placed in situations that you did not create. So, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. So, such a person should be told to perform action as a karma yogi, as Krishna told Arjuna in this verse, this next verse. For someone who has raga dveshas still, sannyasa will not work, it will only be abused. So therefore, renouncing all actions unto me with a mind that is discriminating, devoid of expectations with reference to the future and any sense of mindness, without any anger or frustration whatsoever, fight. So one thing is very clear, a person who's still riddled with a lot of raga dveshas cannot, sannyasa is not the option for him. He has to go through karma yoga. How? Renouncing all actions unto me with a mind that is discriminating, devoid of all expectations with reference to the future and any sense of mindness. The word fight in this verse can refer to anything, beginning with one's daily battle of getting out of bed in the morning. Throughout the day also, there are a number of situations to be faced. For Arjuna, what had to be faced was an actual battle. The battle was a kartavyam karma, a to be done action for him. Given all that Arjuna and Krishna had said before, Krishna's mandate, get up and fight, was to be expected. It was neither a command nor advice, it was teaching. Having presented his arguments, Krishna simply said, do it. Thus, there was a definite therefore implied here, indicating teaching rather than a command or advice. The rest of the verse deals with how Arjuna was to fight. First, giving up all activities, fight. Sarvani karmani sanyasya yudhyasva. There are two types of sarva karma sannyasa, as we have seen. How can you fight if you have renounced all activities? It won't work. If, on the other hand, the mandate is renouncing all actions, go to a teacher and listen to the Shastra, Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya Shravanam Kuryat, Gurumeva Abhigachet, giving up all activities, burning all your bridges behind you and your boats too, if you have any, go for moksha. The giving up is meant for learning alone, meaning that you go to a teacher and study until you gain the knowledge that is moksha. Renunciation is purely for moksha, not for anything else. We have seen how sannyasa is a particular lifestyle that enables a person to renounce all activities in order to pursue knowledge. But here, sannyasa is used in conjunction with the mandate, renouncing all activity, fight. Sarvani karmani sanyasya yudhyasva. Fighting being an activity, what does giving up all activity mean? Does it mean that Arjuna is not to do anything other than fight? Performing only one action, give up every other activity, prayer, ritual, eating, sleeping, helping, everything, and fight? So, what does this Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya Yudhyasva mean? So, what does renunciation really mean? Obviously, because activity in the form of fighting is involved, this sannyasa is other than what we have seen before. Here it relates to doing what is to be done, which for Arjuna happens to be yuddha, fighting. Krishna was not suggesting that Arjuna give up all activities and fight. This would not have been possible. What was intended here becomes much clearer when the word mai, unto me, is taken into account. Unto me means unto the Lord, thereby connecting the giving up sannyasa with karma yoga, meaning that all one's activities are offered to the Lord. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya. That is how the verse goes. The verse is Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvara. So how wrongly it can be interpreted by saying, give up all activities and fight, right? But it is, give up all activities unto me. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya. So what does renunciation really mean? Obviously, because activity in the form of fighting is involved, this sannyasa is other than what we have seen before. I think we've done this, right? So, unto me, thereby connecting the giving up sannyasa with karma yoga. Meaning that all one's activities are offered unto the Lord. In his commentary of this verse, Shankara compares this offering of one's actions to how a servant of a king goes about doing various activities without questioning how or why it is to be done. I have been placed here to do this particular activity. This is how I have been asked to do it, and therefore I do it. Similarly, whether you like it or not, you find yourself in a given situation that calls for a particular action. For Arjuna, it happened to be a battle, a fight. For another person, it may be something else. And although Arjuna was a Kshatriya, doing what was to be done would not always mean fighting. If he had taken the expression Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya Yudhyasva wrongly, he may have thought that he should always fight, which was not what was intended. Doing what is to be done is to be understood within the context of the situation one finds oneself in. I remember Rajima would say, this is your Kurukshetra. Everybody has their respective Kurukshetras. So whatever responsibilities and roles we have, whatever situation we are we are in, so identifying our Kurukshetra and doing what is to be done. Certain situations call for certain actions. Therefore, Yudhyasva can be taken to mean Kurusva. Do what is to be done and do it with an awareness of Ishvara. Do it as an offering to Ishvara. Ishvararpana buddhi. That is that Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya. Awareness of Ishvara is pointed out in the verse by the word Adhyatma Chetasa. Chetasa meaning with the mind. The mind should have viveka. Adhyatma means with reference to oneself. Adhyatma Chetas enables you to know what is and what is not the right thing to do. This capacity is also called Viveka Buddhi. It's not just blindly doing, it is doing with that Adhyatma Chetasa, which is Viveka Buddhi. What is, again, when you trace this back to one other definition of Karma Yoga, which is Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam. It is the discretion in action. It's not just the skill. It is recognizing what is the right thing to do. And that capacity comes with Viveka. A Viveka Buddhi says, I am a doer, of course, but I do this for the sake of Ishvara as a Bhritya, the one who serves. Ahankarta Ishvarasya Bhrityatvat Karomi. The person who performs action in this way is a mumukshu, a seeker. Because the person thinks of himself or herself as a karta, he or she is a karma yogi. There is an evolution that can take place here. One who is not a karma yogi and who is totally deluded, vimudhatma, is also a karta, but still does karma for the results alone. His thought is, for my sake, I am doing this. It is not mai sarvani sanyasya. It is mama. For my sake, I am doing this. For a vimudhatma, expediency and convenience take precedence over a more appropriate means when choosing a course of action. Even though he or she may have one eye on dharma, the other eye can be somewhat blind if the person thinks there is any justification for going against dharma. So, any course of action, this fight, Yudhyasva, that Krishna has told Arjuna to do, when we translate it to our own lives, this fight can be anything starting from waking up from bed. Would you shut the alarm off and sleep off, or would you get up? There begins the fight. And then putting off the TV and going to bed in the night. That is also a fight. Using your Viveka Buddhi, wherein this is the time I need to sleep in order to get the adequate amount of sleep. So, throughout every other action that we do, picking up the right action to do, and just not picking up the right action, doing it as an offering to Ishvara, with an awareness of Ishvara. That sets the karma yogi apart from just a karmi. Karma yogi no doubt thinks himself to be a karta. He is a karta and therefore also a bhokta. But he does it with an attitude of as an offering, as a yajna. Aham karta ishvarasya bhrityatvat karomi. That he is therefore a mumukshu. Why he cannot be, why can't Arjuna be a sannyasi? Because he still has ragadveshas to be neutralized. So as long as there are ragadveshas to be neutralized, one cannot take to sannyasa. It will only be a farce. It would only be a hypocrisy. It will only be hypocrisy. And only through action can one get rid of these ragadveshas. For a vimudhatma, on the other hand, so a karma yogi is one who uses his viveka buddhi. That is adhyatma chetas. Whereas a vimudhatma is one who does things, no doubt, acts, no doubt, but he does it for his own sake, not for the sake of Ishvara, not as an offering. So for him, expediency and convenience take precedence over a more appropriate means. So for him, between commitment and convenience, it is convenience that matters. So he goes after his feelings. I feel like doing it, I will do it. I don't feel like doing it, I will not do it. Whereas a person who is a karma yogi goes with commitment. You are placed in situations that you did not create. The karma yogi, on the other hand, performs action quite differently for the sake of Ishvara. Therefore, an awareness is necessary, which is viveka here, adhyatma chetasa, with a mind that is awakened to Ishvara. Do all the activities that you are going to do, surrendering them unto me, Krishna said here. Why? Because you are placed in situations that you did not create. Nor does anything really belong to you. Everything belongs to Ishvara alone. Thus, you are placed in certain situations, and the order of dharma governing such situations is the Lord. The order determines what is expected of you in each situation, and as a karma yogi, you do it with an awareness of this fact. So, in that piston and nut example that Swami Suryapadaji gave, in that machine, if your role is that of a piston, you pretty well perform the role of a piston. If your role is that of a nut, you pretty well stay put as a nut. Do your duty as a nut. Further, Krishna said, Nirashihi nirmamaha bhutva yudhyasva. Nirashihi is one from whom all action, all notions about the future, asa, have gone. Asha have gone. Future plans, goals, grandiose schemes, and priorities can stifle and inhibit one's present course of action with reference to what is to be done now. A person who thinks only of the future will compromise what is to be done in the present, thereby becoming a schemer. Such a person is not a karma yogi. He or she is an avideki, one who performs karma for the results alone. What is to be done is not done if it is inhibited by your own asha. Thus, Nirashi is one who is not inhibited by futuristic ambitions, nor devoid of ambitions. I'll just repeat this again. Nirashi is a very beautiful understanding of how one needs to be a karma yogi. Nirashihi nirmamaha bhutva yudhyasva. Nirashihi is one from whom all notions about the future, asha, have gone. Future plans, goals, grandiose schemes, and priorities can stifle and inhibit one's present course of action with reference to what is to be done now. A person who thinks only of the future will compromise what is to be done in the present, thereby becoming a schemer. So, if one is only dreaming in the future, dreaming of the future, he will not be able to perform what is to be done well right now. Such a person is not a karma yogi. He or she is an aviveki. I think Gurudev gives the example of this person who is sitting and he is dreaming of, he's a cowherd, he's dreaming of making and selling curds and how he will gain money. And then finally, he will, he gets very wealthy and rich. And finally, in his dreams, what he does in all this daydreaming, he hits that pot of curd and all of that comes crashing down. So if you're only dreaming all the time of the future and you're only scheming all the time and not in the present and not living in the present, then the person is still an aviveki. So a viveka chetasa is one who is, number one, is aware of Ishvara and offers every action unto him. That adhyatma chetasa, that is one. Second is nirashihi, one who lives in the moment. Nor is he devoid of ambitions. See, unless you have an ambition, you can't even set out to do things. So you have to dream. Dream a little bit, but don't get caught up in daydreaming all the time. Nirmama means one from whom the mamatva, the mindness, is gone. Such a person no longer thinks in terms of this is mine, this is not mine, which also inhibits what is to be done. This is not my job. I am not getting anything out of this. Why should I do this when it is his job? He is supposed to do it. This mindness or mamatva is the greatest villain in the maturing process of a person, because to be mature, one has to see only what is to be done. Therefore, mamatva should not interfere with one's doing what is to be done. Such a beautiful paragraph, important for all of us, mumukshus, to drop the mamatva. I'm going to repeat this again. Nirmama means one from whom the mamatva, the mindness, is gone. Such a person no longer thinks in terms of, let me know if there is any interruption, because yesterday there was some. And then you can stop anywhere and share if you want to share. I know we did all this, it's a repetition, but it's worth the repetition. Such a person no longer thinks in terms of this is mine and this is not mine. See, when you take Arjuna's example, for instance, he was caught up in so much of myness. My guru, my teacher, my people, my cousins, my relatives. What Krishna is goading him to do, is teaching him to do, is what? Drop that mamatva. Unless you drop the mamatva, you will not be able to do what you have to do. You will, as long as you see yourself as different from others, you'll say, oh, this is his job to do. this is not my job. So that is where seva comes in. When you bring in seva, that seva attitude is there, you're available to do any seva, any service at that point of time. Anything to be done, you are ready. You would not say, oh, cleaning the garbage is not my job. That is the activity, seva, available to do, required to do. You will pretty well go and do it. You will not choose your seva again, right? So what is available? You will not say, this is not my job, this is mine and this is not mine. So you will just rise to the occasion. That is where importance of seva is. Seva helps you drop your ego. Hey, seva helps you drop your mamatva. So such a person no longer thinks in terms of this is mine, this is not mine, which also inhibits what is to be done. This is not my job. I'm not getting anything out of this. Why should I do this when it is his job? He's supposed to do it. This mindness or mamatva is the greatest villain in the maturing process of a person, because to be mature, one has to see only what is to be done. It's not mine, not his, just what is to be done. Therefore, mamatva should not interfere with one's doing what is to be done. We can see by these two words, nirashi and nirmama, that karma yoga is not an ordinary thing. It requires a lot of maturity and an awareness of the laws that are Ishvara. Karma yoga does not mean that you should not receive wages for work you do, although there may be situations where it would be more appropriate not to. What makes you a karma yogi is simply the awareness of Ishvara, as we have seen before and will see again. See, when you talk about you should not receive wages for work, there may be some situations where it would be more appropriate not to. For example, all the seva we do, we don't get any wages for it. You don't do it because you will get something out of it, because you're paid for it. It's all, so all voluntary work that we do is done without wages. But of course, when you are working to earn your salary, that is different. That is, you will have to run your life. Whereas all the seva that is done without, forget about wages. You're not even thinking, even if we think and do seva with the attitude saying, oh, if I do this seva, I'll get punya. Again, you're no better than a karmi. You're not a mumukshu. Earlier we saw the only outcome that a karma yogi is looking at is neutralizing ragadveshas. That antakarana shuddhi is the only the inspiration for him to do. That is the only outcome he's looking at, he or she's looking at. And what makes you karma yogi is simply the awareness of Ishvara. So without awareness of Ishvara, you cannot have Ishvararpana buddhi, you cannot have prasada buddhi. So karma yoga, to be a karma yogi means a lot of maturity. Another word given in this verse describing how one is to perform action is vigata jvaraha, meaning to be free from all anger and frustration. Suppose a man wants to do what is to be done in a given situation that Ishvara has placed him or her in, but thinks that Ishvara has placed him in a wrong situation. He acknowledges that Ishvara knows what he's doing, but still thinks of it as a wrong situation and becomes frustrated. This frustration is what is meant by jvara, leading to murmuring and complaining. By using the word vigata jvara, Krishna told Arjuna to fight cheerfully, without a dash of complaint, frustration, despair, or anger. How appropriate this thing is for the situation we are all in, especially those that are in. Now, if the whole thing has gone to outside of the Gulf, outside of the region, everybody else is also affected now with this energy crisis. So, Vigata Jwara is just give me a second. Um, so another word is this Vigata Jwara. So what is Vigata Jwara? Jwara is anything that keeps you frustrated. You are fighting that situation rather than doing what is to be done. You are in a complaint mode, murmuring, and also
Yeah,
Gurudev talks of Jwara as being feverish about the outcome.
Jai Gurudev. Now his understanding is clear. See, when fever, the white blood corpuscles, they fight in the same way. We are fighting with the situation. That's called jvara. Okay.
Correct. Right. Nice way to look at it.
Can
So,
you come back again? I didn't get that.
what Maltiji said,
Yeah, please.
he said, yeah, you want to repeat what you said, Maltiji, regarding the white blood cells and fighting the
Yeah.
infection?
When we get fever, what happens? These white blood cells are fighting with the bacteria, whatever it is. In the same way, if you don't accept the situation and we are, we are against the situation, we're fighting with the situation. So that's what he says. You should not fight with the situation, accept it.
So fight in the situation, or whatever is to be done, you do. Fight, if you can use the term fight. Fight in the situation, not against the situation. Every time. See, this is what is meant by being in the present moment, and the present moment is inevitable. It is inevitable, the situation that we are in right now, the war that's going on. Whatever reason it started off, rather than questioning that, we are in the situation. So, what is to be done? Rather than murmuring and complaining and getting frustrated, Krishna told Arjuna to fight cheerfully. So, this is an opportunity for us to go through whatever we're going through cheerfully, without a dash of complaint, frustration, despair, or anger. See, we have not created the situation, but we are in this situation. There are so many people who are affected. Everyone is affected in some way or the other. And the ripple effect of what is happening here has gone far and wide. It has affected, I was told, even hotels in Bangalore have closed down because of the um, anticipated energy crisis. And just imagine those people who are dependent on hotels for their daily meals now they have to look at other sources for feeding themselves. So the ripple effect is far and wide. Now, rather than fight the situation, number one is to accept the situation. But are we doing passive acceptance? No. What is required is active acceptance. Do whatever is required for you to make a difference. So we cannot, of course, do anything at the decision making level, but what we can do at our level is to pray and meditate and chant and be peaceful ourselves, so these peace vibrations spread across. So rather than use the time that we have, the waking time, getting frustrated and being angry against the situation, keep your cheerfulness, have that prasanna chetasa, and then continue doing what you have to do. How often do we fight the situation we are in, right? We question why. Rather than why, convert the why into a wow with an exclamation. Then all of this negative train of thought will vanish. You will start being in the moment. So that Viveka Buddhi includes three things. One is Adhyatma Chetasa, that is awareness of Ishvara, unto me, Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya. So offering every action unto Ishvara, that is the first thing. Second is Nirmamaha, which is Nirashi. Nirashi is you're not just in a scheming or a dreaming mode. You're available to do what is to be done in the moment, rather than get caught up in the notions of the outcome, in dreaming about the outcome. So Nirashi, you're letting go of the notions about the outcome, about the future. And then Nirmamaha, you're not doing it for your sake, you're doing it as an offering to Ishvara. And you will not say this is, and then you will not say this is my job, this is not my job. This is a job to be done, and I will pretty well do it. And then Vigatajvaraha, that is, you let go of any frustration. You're not fighting the situation you're in. You let go of, you stop judging the situation you're in. Oh, am I in the right or the wrong situation? No. You just acknowledge the situation you're in and do what is to be done. Free of all anger and frustration. So any sharing before we go on to the next verse?
Jai Gurudev Brahmaraji, the word Nirashi, so that is without mamatva, right? But there was one Sanskrit meaning it was given, without asha, it is A-S-A, yeah, here. If it is inhibited by your own asha, is it the pronunciation is asha?
Asha. Nirashi, right? So asha.
Yes. Okay.
Asha. So one from whom all notions about the future are gone. See, if you're only thinking and dreaming about the future all the time, you're not available for the present. You're not available in the present. A person who thinks only of the future will compromise what is to be done in the present, thereby becoming a schemer.
He is limited to his me, my, I world.
That is mamatva, but this one is talking about he's caught up with the outcome. He's only dreaming about the outcome. For example, if you're playing a match, just now we just finished this T20. World Cup T20, right? So if every player is only thinking and dreaming about the win all the time, he is not available to bowl or bat the right way. So he's caught up with that. No doubt, when you set out to get you're in a game, you of course dream of winning the game. But if all the time you're only thinking about the outcome, then you're not available to do what is to be done. If you're a fielder and you tend to drop catches, because you're not available in the present moment. So similarly, when we set out to do, without dreaming, without an ambition, you can't, without thinking of the outcome, the result, you don't even start doing anything. That thing has to be there, but you're not caught up in that. You have to plan for the future, but you have to live in the moment, live in the present. So that Nirashi is about living in the present moment.
Yeah, I think I was confused yesterday. Nirmama, mamatva, the word itself is the meaning.
The nirmama is another aspect.
Yeah.
Nirmama
It is other
means
quality which you should have.
another, the mindness is gone, right?
Yeah.
So it is adhyatma chetasa nirmamaha nirashir nirmama bhutva and vigatajvara.
Vigatajvara.
These are this verse is such an important verse for all of us
Yes.
to understand how we should go about being karma. It's not simple Ishwararpana buddhi, prasada buddhi. Of course that is, but it's fine-tuning it even more. See, that is why even in seva, there are different types of seva, right? There is sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. So, what kind of seva are we doing? Are we doing it to gain some recognition? Then forget about it. Are you doing seva to get some punya, to get a better birth? Then there is no viveka there. So doing seva out of the pure attitude that yes, this is required at this time and I'm doing it. Out of that commitment and not out of convenience. When we do seva that way, seva itself helps you get rid of your mamatva. But then there are again different types of seva. So qualifying it further. That is why Gurudev, it's a very beautiful video on seva. What is seva? He says, forget about it if you're doing seva for something, for getting a better birth, for some praise, for some attention seeking. Then that is no seva. And this is where responsibility comes in, right? Responsibility is not given, it is taken. So when you drop this mamatva, when you feel responsible, when you feel belonged to everyone, to the whole universe, then you will not say, oh, this is not my job. You will just act responsibly. Which is what Gurudev has been doing all along. He did not say when COVID happened, I'm not responsible for this, so what will I do? It's not my doing. He rose to the occasion and he started doing online meditations, not once, twice a day. And that brought the whole world, that gave the world so much of peace. I still remember when during COVID, Even I was struck with fear. That the fear, the general air was that of fear and anxiety about the whole disease. So it was these meditations that I would log into morning and evening. It was 9:30 our time, 12 noon India time he would do. So that those meditations gave him so much of inner calm and inner peace. And that is, of course, everybody else's experience. So he has always acted out of responsibility. He says, the whole world is my responsibility. So when we ourselves can expand our belongingness to, when we feel belong to the whole, we feel the whole universe belongs to us, then that responsibility automatically comes in. So actually the whole happiness program is a gist of, is nothing but karma yoga in action. Different aspects, all the 5 points that we have, including this, I belong to you, responsibility, all of this. So we'll start the next verse. Further, Krishna said, Eme matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha shraddhavanto nasuyanto mujyante tepi karmabhihi. I think even this verse we did, but worth repeating. Shraddhavantaha, people who have faith. Anasuyantaha, those who do not find fault, that is, not intolerant of the goodness in others. Ye, those. Manavaha, people. May, my. Idam, this. Matam, teaching. Nityam, constantly. Anutishtanti, follow. Te, they. Api, even. Karma bhihi muchyante, are released by the karmas or karma phalas. So Shraddhavantaha Anasuyantaha Ye Manavaha Me Idam Matam Nityam Anutishtanti. See, Nityam Anutishtanti, constantly follow. Te api karma bihi muchyante. Those people who constantly follow this teaching of mine, full of faith, without asuya, that is, without finding fault with the teaching or the teacher, they too are released by the karma phalas. They are freed from the hold of the karma phalas. That is, they gain moksha. We have seen the 3 types of people who perform karma. One type were kings, like Janaka, who were also jnanis, wise men, all of whom remained active, even though they had the knowledge. They engaged themselves in activities simply because it was in their prarabdha to do so. They had to do it, and therefore they did it. There was no reason not to. They had nothing to lose, and others benefited from their actions. So that is one set of people, enlightened people, but they were still doing their activity. Those who do nothing but teach, have gained the knowledge, can also be included in this group because teaching being an activity. Sarva karma sannyasa is the renunciation of all activities in terms of knowledge alone. It is not to be taken literally, as we have seen. In terms of knowledge, you are not the doer. Knowing this frees you completely from all action, whether you perform activities or not. You may be a sannyasi or you may be very active in the world. In this way, then, there are 2 types of enlightened people, sannyasis and non-sannyasis, with reference to lifestyle. But in terms of knowledge, there is sarva karma sannyasa for both. Although Janaka was a king engaged in a lot of activity, he was considered to be enlightened. Here Krishna told Arjuna that even if he was enlightened, he could continue to do karma for the benefit of the world as Janaka did. for the sake of establishing dharma, so that people would be protected. Krishna knew very well what his own mission was, saying, "Look at me, I too perform actions, not because I have something to accomplish, but because if I do nothing, others will follow my example, which would not be good for them." All this Krishna pointed out. He says, "Yadyadacharati shrestah tatta deve tarojanaha sayat pramanam kurute lokas tadanuvartate." So if he as a Shrestha, as a leader, did not do anything, everybody else also will follow the same. So this is one set of people who are enlightened, who do work. Those who are a second type of people who perform karma are avivekis, those who have no discrimination and therefore no desire for moksha. So even in the first group, the karma yogis also get into the group, right? So it is for the sake of establishing dharma you continue to do, because your activity will help benefit others. A second type of people is who perform karma, ravivekis, those who have no discrimination and therefore no desire for moksha. They are only interested in fulfilling their likes and dislikes, for which they engage in activities. So they have asha, they have mamatva, and they have jwara. More often than not, such people cut corners and sometimes take the wrong path in order to accomplish their ends. They are schemers, they are opportunists. Their end is only their benefit. These people can only be asked to come to dharma. Let them pursue whatever they want to pursue according to dharma. That itself is a blessing. That's the only thing one has to do. That is, steer them away from adharma onto the path of dharma. And they may continue to doing things like an aviveki. But eventually, they will, with that adrishta phala, they and the grace of the divine of Ishvara, they will turn to this path. So that is what we as volunteers need to do, is to just bring people onto the path of dharma. I think we'll stop here today. One's choice is surrender to what is proper. Yeah, we'll do this tomorrow. Anybody wants to share anything? Takeaways, everyone? Good for us to just share one sentence. What is our understanding? So, Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya Adhyatma Chetasa Nirmamo Nirashir Bhutva Yudhyasva Vigatajvaraha. I think these three terms are good manana for a contemplation for rest of today. If as the teacher of the art of living, you're organizing a course, and of course you have the sankalpa of having a big course. But in case you're only caught up in that sankalpa and that you're imagining this is how it is, yeah, you will not end up doing your groundwork, your legwork of reaching out to people, right? So what is to be done needs to be done. So take a sankalpa, drop it, and continue doing. So Gupta ji says, war is inevitable, go through it cheerfully as we have not created it. active acceptance of the situation, and pray, meditation, and chant. Continue doing what you have to do. Yes. Yes, someone was saying something. Yeah. So we'll conclude here. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev. We are not having meditation because right now we're starting our morning sadhana, daily sadhana online. So those of you who want to join in, we're having short Kriya in Gurudev's voice. Are most welcome to join in. The link has been shared in the Gita group. You can check that out. I don't want to keep posting several times because that will be, yeah. So just scroll up. We have daily sadhana link that was shared I think about 10 days back. On March 1st or so, we started. Yeah. Thank you. Jai Gurudev.